Well, hello, ladies and germs, damas y caballos. This is your boy, Efren Tinoco, here in Memphis, telling you what you need to know and not what you want to hear. And today we're going to talk about what the big headlines are in Mexico today. They deal with the conviction of Genaro Garcia Luna, the former head of domestic security, basically the top cop in Mexico from 2006 to 2012 under the administration of Felipe Calderon, who happens to be now in exile in Indonesia. This former Mexican president is in Indonesia. He was once in Spain to get out of Mexico because of several processes probably against him, and now he's in Indonesia where there's no extradition treaty. But so you know that this guy Genaro Garcia Luna was being the top cop of Mexico, was actually featured in a couple of Netflix specials or series, kind of like a pseudo historical fiction type of series about the narco scene in Mexico. Well, you of course maybe a lot of you guys have heard of El Chapo. Well, Genaro Garcia Luna, it turns out, was probably the main enabler and facilitator of the rise to prominence of the Sinaloa cartel organization headed by El Chapo. And the reason why is because what he was convicted of in the United States was aiding and abetting El Chapo, and specifically going after the Sinaloa cartel's rivals, and only their rivals in Mexico with respect to basically arrests, roundups, what have you, anti-drug operations and enforcements. Now, Genaro Garcia Luna has been, okay, so if you think about, first of all, if you think about his term in service, he mostly coincided with Obama's first term and a little piece of the end of, the latter half of Bush's second term. So the piece about Obama's first term, I'm not sure how interesting that is, but I will tell you that, especially given certain photographs of glad handing that had been going on, he coincided with Hillary Clinton's first term as Secretary of State. As a Latin American and Latin Americanist, I'm not fond of Hillary Clinton and not fond of her manner of U.S. intervention into the domestic affairs of certain Latin American countries, and now probably, it turns out, Mexico. What Genaro Garcia Luna was doing was amassed a huge fortune because of his enabling of the Sinaloa cartel. So in exchange of his assistance, basically non-prosecution of the cartels. I think only like 1% of the whole jail population of gangsters in Mexican jails were Sinaloa cartel members. During that time, he got very rich. I think he has. I think they had a massive fortune which had been frozen of about $700 million in Miami, several apartments in Miami, and several big mansions in Mexico City, which, as y'all can imagine, is not cheap. By any means, a dollar does not go far in Mexico City, especially with respect to the rich parts. But so yeah, your Mexican buddies, your Mexican people who you know in your life are celebrating today, unless they are part of a certain formerly prominent political establishment. There are several fallouts from this. I'll go into one of them in a little bit of detail. Well, first of all, just blanketly the whole National Action Party, which is a center right, I would say mostly affiliated with the Republican Party, has been blown out of the water now. That is one of two major and a couple of minor parties that are in opposition to the current center-left, liberal, open, transparency, justice party that rules Mexico now. When you say that Mexico is corrupt, and when you say that Mexico is hand in glove with the rest of what's going on with the drug scene and with the exportation of illicit materials in the United States, yes, you have a point, and that is basically due mostly, as people are aware, to the administration of Felipe Calderon. During the administration of Felipe Calderon and Genaro Garcia as his head prosecutor and law enforcement officer, the number of deaths and disappearances spiked tremendously and have escalated to levels which are about now only, goodness gracious, about 100,000 a year. Now starting to come down from that level. That's an insidious amount of homicides for sure. For a country of 140 million people. So yeah, it is a cause for celebration. Most of the people who you know as Mexican are politically aware for two reasons. First of all, because of the circumstances which cause them, either through violence or political or mismanagement of the economy, that led them to need to leave their country in order to make a living. And also because of the situation in which they arrived, which developed into basically the Trump campaign. And so they're very politically aware because of the pot shots they had been taking, and the poisoning of the animus in the United States. If I were to actually see copies of the Washington Examiner, you would see people saying explicitly that most of the problems of the United States are to be blamed on Mexico, which is nutty, which is absolutely nutty. And it's also very convenient if you're so gullible, to believe that. So in other words, you don't pay attention to the real problems of the United States and the actual self-inflicted nature of them through the political establishment. So what does this mean now going forward for the United States and Mexico? Well, right now, the party in power is the Morena party. And Morena is a center-left party. As I said, they have, I would say, if you put Bernie Sanders, you made him 10 years younger and about 4 inches shorter, you probably end up with the president of Mexico. So it's a very transparent, very, I would say, they even have a lot of largesse with respect to investment in public infrastructure, as well as public programs and direct payments to people, especially like the elderly and disabled. What's been revealed about this administration, about the Morena administration, is that, well, yes, what we all knew was that Mexico is a very rich country, rich in resources, rich in assets, both natural and structural and geographic, and rich in productive capability and social capital. So when the money is not squandered through profligate abuse and mismanagement of public projects, and whose funds are diverted, into the corrupt hands of people like Calderon, uh, well, there's money to pay debts. Mexico has reduced its foreign debt tremendously. There's money for infrastructure projects like the train that's going to go around the Yucatan Peninsula, so you can see a bunch of things while you're in Cancun. You can also hop on a train and on a very nice 100-mile-an-hour train that goes through the jungle, and you can see the city of Merida and a bunch of other things that are archaeological and cultural in their nature. You can think about all the replacement and strengthening of many state-owned industries and elimination of concessions to U.S., Canadian, Spanish industries like mines and utility companies. Okay, so Mexico's on a very good footing actually, and it shows you what a waste. It's kind of bittersweet because it shows you what a waste the administration of Calderon was. Like I said, Calderon was hiding in Indonesia. His excuse was that he went there for a climate change summit. But there is a tremendous amount of fallout in Mexican politics. The establishment party, the PRI, which has been up and down, well, basically ruled Mexican politics up until 2000 solely, until the emergence of the National Action Conservative Party, which ends up being the Narco Action Party. So when this was announced, when the verdict was announced, I will tell you, in the Mexican House, or the Mexican lower house, basically with the representatives and the plurinominal party picked people to represent to seat in the House, but like they have about 500 people in that chamber. All of the people from National Action got up and left because they couldn't. They had spoken out they dug in their heels in support of Calderon. They're dug in their heels in support of Luna, Garcia Luna. And his wife is actually a representative, a nominated representative in this chamber. So what's going to happen there? I would say their hand in Mexican politics and the coalition they have with the PRI, the nominally Democratic PRD, nominally Liberal Party, and the Movimiento Ciudadano, like another little smaller splinter group, is toast. And elections are next year. So anyway, your people, your Mexican people, friends, neighbors, colleagues, fellow students, employees, whatever, they are celebrating tremendously right now. But there is a lot of fallout, and I'm going to explain some of this the next time. So until then, this is your boy Efren Tinoco signing off from nearby North Memphis, and I'll talk to you later. Hasta luego. Bye.